Hello and welcome back to Neverwinter Nights 2, Mask of the Betrayer. Well, last time, we had a rather harrowing adventure, nearly starved fighting against a coven of legendary hags, but we made it through, and in the end of it we had to even fight a Dao Jin with his elemental servant. But at least gave us a quick snack. So, figure now that we're safely back in Milsontir, it is time to relax a little bit and chat up with our crew somewhat. So we haven't talked with Kaelin for a while. We should.
You have returned. Do you wish to travel together again?
Yes. Let's take Kaelin along.
You need to thin your ranks if you need my assistance. There are too many traveling with you already.
We can leave Oku behind for a little bit, I think.
As you like, little one. I'll return to the Milsontir gate and slumber for a time, until you return for me.
Very well, I am ready.
Sleeping bear. And yes, we do have to level up all our party members, so we'll be probably doing that. But first, I just want to have some chats with people. So let's have a chat with
So the Coven
Kaelin.
urges us on to Merkel by taking the Thamount Road. This journey has many branches, but I sense we are closing on our destination. We should travel to the Thamount, and soon. Your power grows, and so does your hunger.
Well, we still haven't done a thing that I want to do. It was already the plan, but thanks.
I am sorry. I am telling you things of which you are already aware. You spoke to me for some reason other than to hear your own thoughts reflected, so please, if you have questions, ask.
That's quite polite. Alright, let's see what questions.
Gladly. If I have the answer, it is yours.
Yeah, let's have a few questions about her faith and the like. When we met Devrick, you mentioned once that you were a Doom Guide. What exactly is that?
Doom Guides are priests of Kelemvor. They comfort the dying and struggle to bring peace to creatures that have been denied death by necromancy or other means. We are intended to bring peace to the dying and to the dead. We teach it is not something to be feared, but simply a natural ending to life.
If you'd rather not talk about what happened, I understand.
It is difficult to express, but I will try.
Hey, influence
Once I was one of the priesthood of Kelemvor, god of the dead. I walked the plains, alleviating the suffering of others. But to face those same spirits, to soothe them and comfort them, only to know that they are bound for a place that torments them, it is not something I understand.
What do you mean exactly?
In Kelemvor's faith, they teach that death is not something to be feared, that it is part of the natural cycle, but that is not true.
Oh.
If one does not worship the gods, there is much to fear, and no prospects of peace in the afterlife.
No prospect of peace? I don't understand. Illuminate.
To comfort a dying child, knowing it is destined to scream eternally in an ever-living wall. A midwife of the plains who has never heard of such a thing as gods. An entire plain of sea wives who farm the sea and seed the oceans to bring about life. To know that they are bound to become stones in the wall of a faithless citadel, crushed together by dogma and ritual that has never once been reflected upon, that never once has been examined for what it is.
There are some holes in her thinking here. Or at least in the lore as she presents it. If he's a midwife of the plains, okay. The whole Wall of the Faithless only applies to people that die in the in Abertorial, the world of the Forgotten Realms. People that come from that are on other planes and they die, they have their own system of death and the like. But I believe even if someone has not heard of religion and the gods and the like, I am pretty sure they actually mentioned that they don't go to the Wall of the Faithless. They are basically judged only by their character, as it were, and they will probably be going to one of the afterlives of the gods of other plane or of other settings, like the Norse pantheon and the like. But I'm not 100% sure. I'll have to read up on that. In fact, I think I will. 1 second. Right, so one deep lore dive later, and looking through at Greenwood, the kind of like original, the thinker, yeah, the original maker of the Forgotten Realms. Yes, later I have found some answers. So children do not go to the Wall of the Faithless. What happens with children or infants is if they have at some point in their young lives kind of like been exposed to a religion and in some way believed any of it, they will just go to the realm of that god's, into that god's realm, as it were. If they had absolutely no touch with religion or incentives, they usually are actually similarly kind of treated as animals and would be traveling to the Beastlands, where they would be reborn as animals. And then kind of eventually recycled back into life. As for people that basically come from cultures and societies that do not have like the actual religion, it still would not make them exactly faithless. They would, the gods go by many names, many aspects, and most any sort of mythical thing, spirit is probably just one of the aspect of a certain god in the Forgotten Realms. So most likely they will just go to that god's realm. The Wall of the Faithless would only be specifically for those people who actively know of the gods and reject them. So, atheists, if you will. Still a pretty unnice thing. It's pretty tyrannical, but it's not as severe as Caitlin paints it here. Still, let's continue. Wait, you're saying that dead souls are bound for some wall?
Yes, the great wall that encircles the City of Judgment.
Yeah, we've seen
its
it.
Bricks are souls that never pledged fealty to any god, nor knew that they had to achieve paradise in the afterlife. They are mortared there, crushed together to suffer by archaic law. No matter how good or pure or unselfish they were, it matters only if they followed the proper rituals to a deity, any deity.
So yeah, but the Wall of the Faith is more like people like Bishop that we have seen, who actually just put the middle finger to any authority figure and just lived a very nihilistic life. Those are more the sort of people that go to the Wall of the Faithless. Still a shitty thing. So let's see, yeah, we are a priest, so we should probably, but we also are a priest of Sune, who is a chaotic good deity. So this is actually an interesting question. I think this would be the thing. You value one's deeds and heart over, excuse me, over their devotion.
Religion is not ritual. It is intended to comfort, to strengthen, not to punish. Is lip service to a god, is that what is important? Or is it the acts and belief that matter?
What do you believe that should be done?
My conscience cannot be silenced on this. I hear justice. I hear the last words of those who suffer and need comfort. All of these things I hear, always. But beyond them, in the fugue plane, I hear the cries of those dead who lie within the wall. And I cannot forsake them.
Okay, what's... Sure, they do suffer pain. This is an interesting question. Do they really suffer that pain? It's like we cannot see that experience. But yes, let's be friendlier. If you go, I will go with you and help you if I can, because I am a nice guy.
I would welcome your help. And it lends me strength to know that you are my ally in this. I will fly to them, and I will grant them wings as I have. I shall release them from the curse that their death has become, because it is the right thing to do for one's spirit to be at peace.
How would you release the spirits from the wall? Or actually, what do you intend to do?
I led the Second Crusade to tear down this wall. Like the first, it failed, but I still live. It will continue.
The Second Crusade?
There was a First Crusade. It too was stalled for a time. The one who led it suffered as I had. That is part of the journey, I feel.
We kind of already know what happens to the First Crusade, but let's ask anyway.
My
from
grandfather
our
sought
perspective.
to dissuade me from my efforts with the tale of the First Crusade. I do not think he understood the tale he was telling. Before then, I did not even know that there had been previous attempts to bring down the wall. To realize that others had felt as I did gave me a new strength, new conviction.
Okay, this is interesting. Well, we know who led it, but
One
still.
mortal sought to cast down the wall and failed, even with an army at his back. His name was Akachi, sometimes known as the Betrayer.
Tell me more of your grandfather.
He is a Solar, and I one of his descendants. His blood runs through my veins, but my perspective and my spirit are my own, not tied to the higher planes.
Why did your grandfather tell you such a tale?
In all things, grandfather saw process and order and ritual, and that is what he tried to teach me when he told me of the First Crusade. But those are abstracts that orbit a purpose. If the purpose is flawed, what meaning do process and ritual have?
So what did you tell after your grandfather told you this tale?
Only one question remained in my mind, so I spoke it. Why must the universe be so? Grandfather answered, resolved with, "What is there to be done?" To him it was a statement.
That sounds like
To
apathy.
me, it was a question. It is that question that is the torch that leads my way in shadow. I know what must be done.
I've had other questions for you.
Gladly. If I have the answer, it is yours.
So we have to ask about that. So tell me more about the I would like to ask you more about your family
What of them?
while we're in that subject. I'm interested to hear about your brothers and sisters rather than your grandfather.
I have 4 siblings, and we were seldom apart. We called ourselves the Menagerie, and we took on the mantles of animals that reflected our spirits the best.
Why did you take the name then of the dove?
I was the spiritual leader of the Menagerie. I took the dove as a symbol of peace.
More
What of
about
them?
your family though. Yeah,
I
let's
have
ask.
4 siblings, and we were seldom apart. We called ourselves the Menagerie, and we took on the mantles of animals that reflected our spirits the best.
Were seldom apart?
Yes, recent events have separated us, and our paths have divided.
Some
What
else
of them?
about your family. How about your
He
grandfather?
dwells in the House of the Triad on the slopes of Celestia as I did. He is one of the Solars, the strongest of divas. He's a champion of order and of structure. He was the one who led the shaping of Limbo's outer reaches 2 centuries ago to forge stability from that chaotic plane. And he ended the reign of the tyrant Ankriva and the desiccated kings of the Shrumar, who were allied with Merkel long ago.
We have no idea who those people are. Oh, right! One of those was the Lich that we fought. He didn't do quite a good job, apparently, if they were in the sunken city.
He ended the chaos of their empire, not destroyed them utterly. Had he done so, he would have brought more ruin to their lands, and Grandfather believes strongly that chaos breeds more evil. He rarely intervened on the Prime, but in that instance, Ankriva was affecting the cycles of life and death on the plains, and it had to be ended.
Interesting. And he wasn't part of the menagerie, I imagine. He doesn't sound like an animal.
No, the Menagerie was perhaps more concerned with the Prime than Grandfather was. The outer planes were his home, where he felt he could make the most difference. The Prime was not something he concerned himself with, and even on the Prime, he would not allow his feet to touch ground.
Very dogmatic. I like to be down and dirty in the dirt, you know? Yes. Some more questions.
Gladly. If I have the answer, it is yours.
I am fishing for ways to get influence with her. So you're from the upper planes.
I come from the slopes of Celestia. My heritage is evidenced in my wings and my eyes.
I notice your wings. Are you able to fly?
No, I cannot. The wings simply serve as a cloak, and at times a shield from the sun or elements. They are another mark of Celestia, one that I welcome. Gladly. If I have the answer, it is yours.
What about yourself, then?
I sought to lead a crusade against the city of the dead, to correct the injustice I saw there. If the universe would not remove the wall of the faithless, then I would. I was not the first to feel this way. Have I told you of the first crusade? The war of Akachi against the wall of the faithless? He
Yes,
was a
I
faithful
believe
adherent
so.
of Merkel, Lord of the Dead those many centuries ago, before the rise of Kelemvor.
So he was a follower of Merkel.
Yes, one of Merkel's chosen ones, in fact. He dispensed justice in Merkel's name and hunted the enemies of his god across the plains. But when one he loved fell victim to Merkel's laws, he appealed to his god and was rebuked.
Another case of love ruling perfect. Absolutely not. That's not what a priest of love would say. If I'd been, I'd make Merkel see things my way.
I think not. Merkel took amusement in certain deaths and punishments, and until his end, he was never swayed from his judgments. The one who loved Akachi, she did not worship the gods, any god, let alone the god of her beloved, Merkel. There is a punishment for ones who carry such beliefs. No matter how virtuous their lives, those who do not believe in the gods will suffer upon the wall of the faithless until their souls are no more.
Guess I taught her to go to temple. Ah, 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 ah. I wonder if this is sarcasm, this line. Punishment, a fitting reward for a virtuous life, I'd say. I think you'll just say that that seems unjust.
Yes. Yes, it is.
Aha!
Once they are on the wall, they die again. And it is not a quick death. It is a slow slide. It is agony until their souls are dissolved into the wall. They decay until they are destroyed completely, utterly.
Yeah, it would be better to just throw them to annihilation or something. That would be much more kind. I understand that you can't have people who don't believe in the gods go to an afterlife as such, but, you know, why drag it out? No one deserves such a fate for simply not worshipping the gods.
Akachi's sense of justice would not permit him to accept even the words of his own god if he felt they were unjust, nor would he accept the wall that encircled Merkel's city. So he gathered allies, great lieutenants of dragonkind, divas, and even the undead to his side. He attacked Merkel and was crushed.
A dragon, a solar, and undead. I saw each of those in a dream.
What? Those three are not dreams. They exist, or did at one time.
Lots of
I
that.
sought to find them and enlist them for my crusade, but I could not find them. Your dream is the closest I have ever come to encountering them. If they exist, they are hidden well. I wonder what this foretells. Perhaps they shall come again, but this time in the flesh.
And the wall still remains.
But the tale lives on. It lives on in me, in others, who saw what Akachi tried to do. And in his tale we take strength, and we continue his war. For the wall of the faithless is not just. It must be cast down.
So you're waging war of it. Isn't there some other way?
I have considered other ways, and those routes are no longer open to me. This is the only way.
This is the
Merkel's
way.
construct has passed to Kelemvor, the new god of the dead. He is set in his ways, and is as deaf to appeals as Merkel was. There must be justice in this life, and in death. I am bound to both, but I am not bound to accept their laws.
Alright.
Gladly. If I have the answer, it is yours.
So we've gathered a little bit of influence with her. This is a new conversation. Before you mentioned Akachi got a lieutenant dragon chief guy for the crusade, correct?
Yes, why do you ask?
Yeah, okay, we already had
Those
this.
three are not dreams.
Oh,
exist,
wow!
or did at one
Okay,
time.
that's an
I
easy
sought to
way
find
to
them and
recycle
enlist them for
the
my
influence.
crusade, but I could not find them. Your dream, I wonder what this foretells. Perhaps they shall come again, but gladly. If I have the answer, it is yours.
But that was handy. You mentioned the House of the Triad. Is that like some cool
The
Chinese
House of the
mafia
Triad
thing?
is not a temple, nor is it a place upon the prime material plane. It is the name bestowed to the 3 great mountains circling Mount Celestia on the outer plains. The realms of Torm, Tyr, and Ilmater lie upon the crest of each mountain, and the triumvirate forms the House of the Triad. It is a place of great beauty, where the orchestrations of divas are carried on the wind and sun.
It makes
But
me
it is
wonder
sealed
why you
to me,
became a priest of
and never again shall I
Kellenfor.
know its comfort.
But the priests of Ilmater cannot go to his realm?
The House of the Triad is closed to me, as is all of Celestia. Even Ilmater's realm, with its temple that embraces the sky. No creature there can feel pain, fatigue, or even exhaustion. One is renewed within its walls. There are times
So
I
there
miss
you
it,
go.
I
It's
confess.
good if you get thrown in a wall. No, I know, it just doesn't matter that.
Isn't comfort against Ilmater's religion? That sounds weak.
That must be suffering that must be suffering in itself.
To comfort the suffering is at the heart of Ilmater's beliefs, and it extends to his disciples as well. I thank you for your sympathy. To show compassion for others brings one closer to my God, and those we seek to heal. Gladly.
We're
If I
doing
have
very
the
good
answer,
on the
it is
influence
yours.
game with her right now. What can you tell me about Shadow Mulsantir?
It is a shadow of the city you have left behind, but as you may have perceived when you arrived, it is not an exact imitation. There are distortions of architecture, and sometimes a different flow of streets or paths. It is enough to recognize what Shadow Mulsantir is supposed to represent, but not what it is. I hope that served to dispel your confusion rather than compound it. To describe Shadow is an elusive thing.
It's a pretty good description of the Shadow Plane. I think we have had everything we wanted from her. Let's have a chat with Gan after we, killed the mother and everything.
Gulkosh is gone. And I feel loss. All that time wasted in judging her for something she had not done.
Well, this is a bit annoying
She
with the
did
wing in
exact
front of his
opposite
face.
what I had believed all my life. Felt the exact opposite. She loved me. And loved my father.
In her own insanity, yes. I believe she did, yes.
How much of such dreams and hopes are left unsaid between others? And how many could be saved or healed by such knowledge? If I am ever to love, I will speak of it. This is my promise, the first vow I have ever made. And if I am loved in return, then it shall only be the first vow of many.
Well, that's nice. Sooni's blessing to you for that matter.
Of course. Ask what you will, and I will do my best to answer.
What can you tell me anything about Thaymount?
Very
We're
little.
supposed to go.
Few spirits live there, and ones that scout too close do not return. It is shrouded in mystery, like much of the territories enfolded by the robes of red wizards.
Let us chat a bit later when there isn't a wing in your face, like this.
Yes?
Are you alright?
I am wondering about this wall of the faithless.
Ah yes, we
I know
have
your curse to be true.
heard a lot of
If it has
that.
been spawned by one of your gods, then this wall of the faithless may be true as well.
It exists.
And its existence is a difficult thing for me to accept. To simply believe in the gods, in your gods, it is punishment of a different sort. If you fight this curse, then perhaps you are fighting this god's punishment as well. And that is a fight I can believe in.
Ah, we're stoking the embers of rebellion, lovely.
Of course. Ask what you will, and I will do my best to answer.
So I'm wondering if we get like something like a bonus from him as well. Let's ask about himself.
The animals of the world took me in. The dead shepherded the living. It mattered not to them. I learned their speech, their greetings and farewells, the cries of the wild and the whimperings of those lost. To some it is a dirge. To me it is a symphony. And the strains are familiar ones that speak purer than any Rashemi word.
So you were left to wander the land?
There are worse fates. And the more I spoke and bartered with the dead, the more the spirits would come to my aid. My powers grew, and so did the tales of my travels, until every farmer in this dreaming nation held a blade close to their bed, in case I should visit their daughters in the night.
Kinky. How do you feel when you returned home?
And coming home, I feel as if myself has come full circle, and perhaps that living amongst the wilds of Rashomon was a far kinder fate than what befell the rest of my family. So it seems traveling with you has helped me travel into my past and sever threads. Some threads so heavy, I did not realize they were anchors until now.
Oh well, let's continue on. Anything?
No doubt you have questions. But first,
excellent, here we
I
go.
will share with you. Whether you know it or not, you have bestowed a gift upon me. We share the same direction of thought, and that has created a resonance between us. Perhaps you have felt it already, but Rashomon responds to such strength, infusing us with its power. It sees us as kindred allies in this journey.
Unless the man can be gold or magic, I couldn't care less. How exactly do you mean?
Whether you realize it or not, the power of the land, even dreams, have become tied to you. We can now speak with their voice, and it is a powerful gift. Some are only gifted with a dreamer's eye, but to be given a dreamer's voice, it is one of the rarest of gifts. Spirits of others will be clearer and sharper to you, and you may begin to see their dreams and their intent far easier than their mere surface appearance.
I will accept this gift gladly then.
The skin of others around you will seem as dingy cloaks compared to what you can see of their thoughts and their nature. You will now see what truly lies within others, what they dream of becoming, and if you wish, how to coax such passions forth.
Oh my
And for
god,
your
I do not
enemies,
wish to see
such
this.
perceptions can allow you to drink deep of their spirits, more so than before. Even should we grow apart or go our separate ways, the dreamer's voice will remain. Once given, it cannot be taken back.
Based on Khan's influence status, which you devoted, you have gained the influence-based dreamer's voice, giving you a bonus to charisma and your spirit power. Very nice. Alright. So that's another loyalty thing. Next time, I think we've gone on long enough. This was all chatty, but sometimes, you know, after all that action and fighting and stuff and barely surviving, I think that's enough for next time. I think I will just have a little snack in the dead realm in between, then level up, and then we hopefully go on more quest and adventure. We still have that whole bit with the woodsman or something to go, who knows about spirit eaters, so we'll probably do that. I wish you a best of days, en extra groeten aan Roer. Bye bye.